Okay, so I have found in one little location here two of the plants which are probably the most hated right now in the Americas, and that would be the Japanese knotweed here with its beautiful green and red speckled stems, and also the burdock, which has those prickly seed pods which attach to everything that you can think of. So both of these plants have something in common, and again it is that the English introduced both of them to the Americas when they came over for very specific reasons. I will talk briefly about the burdock because it was bought for medicinal reasons, very good for immunity, for colds in particular, and then ended up being a food source at a later date. But the one I really want to talk to you about is this guy over here. This is the Japanese knotweed. The Japanese knotweed isn't actually English. It comes from Asia. It was found on the side of a mountain in Japan by a gentleman by the name of Thomas Hogg. Now, he loved it because he learned from the locals there that there were a lot of medicinal properties, and that was very important at the time because in the 1700s there was a huge outbreak of syphilis in London. In fact, I believe it was 30% of all people under the age of 35 in London suffered from this terrible disease. And it turns out that the compounds that were in Japanese knotweed were able to treat them. So he brought them back over to England, and then because obviously the English were traveling over to the Americas and moving in at that point, he sent it to his brother, who owned a nursery outside of New York City, and gave it to him. Now, as with so many plants that have happened to be brought to the Americas, Japanese knotweed did exactly the same, hopped the fence and ran off into the wilderness, and the rest is history. A lot of people consider this plant to be one of the most hated, like I said, plants that there are in the Americas, and spend a lot of time and effort trying to get rid of it from the gardens and ditches where it loves to be. I actually do not hate Japanese knotweed. I actually love to eat it. It's an incredible thing. So Japanese knotweed has two very wonderful ways of being eaten. And the first one is to eat it when it first comes out and is a shoot. Now, because we're in May here, that's kind of past, so I can't really show you, but I do have a film clip, and I'll place that over what I'm talking about right now so you can see exactly what it looks like. But basically, it's about this big. You treat it like an asparagus tip. So you have the first 4 or 5 inches. If there are any leaves, you shouldn't really be eating it. Just use the actual growth tip itself and treat it like asparagus. I love to wrap mine in bundles with bacon, and it's absolutely amazing. Now, the second and my most favorite way of eating Japanese knotweed is when it is just about a foot and a half tall, just like this one here. The wonderful thing about Japanese knotweed is that it tastes just like rhubarb when you cook it. And I happen to be a lover of rhubarb, and if you are, then this plant is your godsend. You are going to harvest this like crazy. You're going to can it, and you're going to keep it for those winter months when you're looking for a really cheap dessert. Japanese knotweed is fantastic for that reason. So basically, you take the stem and you cut it up into, I'd say, about inch pieces or smaller if you want. My recipe that I use is 4 cups of diced Japanese knotweed, just the stem. If the stem is thicker than that, then I will shave it. I'll peel it, as you say here in America, and I'll cut it into inch or less than inch slices. 4 cups of that, 2 cups of diced apple, sugar to taste, that's up to you, and just stew it in water until it comes to a really nice consistency. It's slightly green, and honestly, when you taste it, you are going to be blown away. It's mind-blowing. And if you add that with some flour, some water, and some fat to make a crumble or a crisp, as you call it here, you have an amazingly quick, easy, and very cheap dessert to make. So I will download the recipe on the post below so you can see, and I recommend heartily that you try it if you like rhubarb. If you don't like rhubarb, which happens to be the case with a lot of gentlemen, then I'm sorry. But if you do, this plant is a godsend. It's cheap, easy, grows massively in clumps, and I love to use it. As well as being wonderfully edible, there are a couple more really good medical things that they found with their research into Japanese knotweed. I think the first being that it's called a hemostatic, and hemostatic means that it promotes blood clotting, and that's a very important thing with people who have problems with their blood thin and level. So look at information on that if you have it. And another thing, as I found out when I was researching the Japanese knotweed, is it is often prescribed as a central nervous system relaxant. So that can be used to treat a variety of problems, including insomnia, panic attacks, anxiety, seizures, and muscle spasms. Nature is amazing, and when you're using a plant such as Japanese knotweed, there are going to be far less medical side effects than if you were taking a tablet, especially if you're taking more than one medication for your health. As with anything that I am telling you about, please do more research of your own and also speak to your doctor. I would hate to get my butt kicked later on because you hadn't done so. But I just want to educate you in what there is out there, and I think that people will be surprised that this plant, which is considered such a pain in the hiney, can actually be so helpful to us, both to feed ourselves and also to heal ourselves. I hope you've enjoyed learning about the Japanese knotweed, and I look forward to teaching you more. Have a great rest of your day, and enjoy your lives. Take care. Bye.